Brandon Graham is back.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? Hope it's on a fantastic day today. So we have some updates for the Philadelphia Eagles, and it looks like Brandon Graham is officially back with the Birds on a one-year deal for $6 million. And this was a pretty good deal. And you got to say the loyalty that Brandon Graham has to this team. His first year in double-digit sacks. Coming off an Achilles injury at an older age is not, and coming back from that is a really hard thing to do. So the Eagles make it work. Now, Brandon, it's not official yet, but it's pretty much done. Josina Anderson put out some quotes from Brandon Graham. He said, just got off the phone with Eagles Brandon Graham. I haven't officially signed yet, but it's pretty much done. I'm coming back. It wasn't about the money. I love Philly. I don't want to miss a championship with Jalen. Jalen is the man. I just told my agent, make it happen. A really good thing. This is what happens when you don't really see loyalty in the NFL. You never see it. It's really hard through players, what you have to deal with. Brandon Graham has made a lot of money, and at this point, if it was just going to be a one-year deal for a little bit more than what he was getting, and obviously originally it was $5.5 million for 2 years. 2 years, $5 million, $11 million for 2 years. That's what it was going to be before. But on a one-year deal for Brandon Graham, staying in Philadelphia, solidifying the defensive end position, is a really good move. He could have went in the free agency and got so much money. I mean, he could have made a lot of money. I couldn't even imagine Brandon Graham being in another uniform at this point, but really glad that he is back. So when you look at this defensive end position right now, it's not too bad with Reddick, Sweat, and now you have Brandon Graham back, which, your defensive end position right now is pretty good. They're going to add another, hopefully they can move Kyron Johnson from outside linebacker to defensive end, maybe, hopefully some other pieces kind of flow a little bit, and maybe add another young talent for depth as a rotational in this defense. So really your defensive end position is pretty good. And like I said, with Brandon Graham and his loyalty towards this team, and it's different when you have a guy that's been here since he's been drafted here. It's different feeling for these players. When you have a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, these guys that haven't been here, that weren't drafted here, it's different. Devontae Smith, when he gets his new deal, he's going to want a new deal here. It's different when you're drafted here and you've been here your whole career than trading for a guy that's only been here for a year or two, okay? But this is this is great. Obviously, there's going to be fans that are going to like this, but at the same time, we have to get younger at the position. I understand that. I definitely know that. But it's starting to feel like defensive end might not be the biggest need. Maybe they take something as more of a rotational, player going into the draft, if that's the case going forward. And I loved it. If I said there was one move that was going to happen, it was going to be Brandon Graham returning. I just could not see him in another uniform. $6 million from 1 year is a steal, guys. And Brandon Graham, I wouldn't blame him for going after the money. Like I said, I don't blame Miles Sanders for going after the money. I don't blame Bradbury for going after the money. I don't blame these players for doing it. You know what I mean? Especially with Miles Sanders coming off his rookie year deal. So a guy like Brandon Graham that's coming into his 14th season now, it's a really good sign. It's a really good start, and I'm really happy he's back. Really solidifies the position a lot more, and get a veteran presence, a veteran leader, a voice. The energetic voice that you get with this defense with Brandon Graham. You miss a heartbeat with Brandon Graham's not on the field, and definitely. So really glad that he's back. In other news as well, we've kind of got some clarification on this whole big play Slay situation with the trade now. Technically, this is not about, Slay didn't really ask for a trade at all. This is his agent doing his due diligence to really, the Eagles allowing Slay to find a trade if he really wants to. It's not about, it's really about the restructure, and Slay does not want to restructure. If I'm just saying it right now, Slay wants to stay here long term. He's 32 years old right now. He wants a new deal on the table. What they're not agreeing on is the number, is the money right now. Okay, $26 million cap hit is way too high. And this is why I like Howie Roseman, because Roseman is going to be on the phones. Roseman is going to be 10 steps ahead of every GM, because this team is going to get younger and younger by the year. As much as this defense is very depleted right now, Howie is constantly negotiating and reworking contracts. As much as everyone's going to complain about it, yeah, it's a little scary, but this is what you have to do. You know, if you just look what Howie Roseman did after our first Super Bowl win in 2017. He kept restructuring, kind of keeping that window open, thinking that the Eagles' window was still open for the Eagles to, get into another championship and win another one. And if you're not drafting well and you keep restructuring, it's going to be bigger cap hits down the road, and you're really going to choke your, organization financially, and you're not going to be able to make moves. So Howie Roseman now having more control over and final say over what he's going to do and freeing up more money. And restructuring is not a bad thing, but when it comes to big play Slay, the cap hits too much. He's making $16, $17 million this year, $26 million cap hit. And if a trade were to go down, it's not going to happen until after June, because you have more dead cap pre-June than you have savings. It's only $3.8 million savings and a big $22 million dead cap number before June. After June, post-June, if you trade him, you'll save over $17 million in cap space. And the Eagles and Howie Roseman wants to work on something with Slay and work on that number to get it down and lessen the cap hit. But at the same time, Roseman is going to let Slay seek out a trade to see what the trade value is for Slay at 32 and what his skill set represents for a team that really needs a cornerback right now. So it's about Howie doing his due diligence, lessening that cap number, working on the money-wise for Slay, but letting Slay seek out a trade, and for Roseman to find out what the market is actually looking like for Slay with draft compensation. Because if he gets a pretty good deal, he might just take it. And then if Slay does get traded after June, then the Eagles will have to, the Eagles will have some homework to do on what they're going to do with both these cornerback spots. But you free up more money on top of, if you restructure Lane Johnson, you're going to be close to, 38, 40 million, something like that, 32 to 40, 38, 40 million, something like that, depending on how many more moves they do, which they could afford to bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They can afford to bring back, obviously, Bradbury maybe, if that's the direction they want to go into. I'm kind of looking for this Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing that I kind of feel like they're kind of trying to free up some money for him and trying to get something done to get him here long term. So I think between Slay's agent and Howie, they're both doing their due diligence by each other to see what the market value would be like for Slay. But at the same time, Howie and Slay are not agreeing on a number right now. Like I said, that cap number is way too high. He's 32 years old right now, and Slay wants to stay in Philly. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He wants an extension, but the extension it just depends on the money that he wants and how he doesn't like the number, and he's not just going to go with it and strangle this cap number. We know how depleted this defense is right now. We are just literally starting this offseason come Monday when players can start negotiating contracts. So it's going to be interesting what happens here. Like I said, Slay did not ask for a trade whatsoever. Obviously, when I made the video at the time, I just heard the news and that was it. But as obviously the hours went by, Slay didn't ask for it. This was more of his agent giving Slay an opportunity to really see what's out there and to see what the Eagles can get for compensation, which is good. So, if something comes out to where the Eagles can get, a third to a second round pick, or maybe it's more than that, maybe a boatload of mid-round picks, who knows? But obviously Slay is old, and I still think he could play for another couple years. I wouldn't sign him to a 4 or 5 year deal. I'm looking for maybe a 2-year deal, like the least, where at least in the second year they can get rid of him if the Eagles, want to, and they won't get strangled by the cap because of letting him go in his second year on his new deal. I would do a 2-year deal, probably be the most most fair thing to do. If he was a little bit younger, it'd be a different story. But since he's 32 years old, it's an issue for me at that $26 million cap hit for the year. It's crazy. And plus, we're working on Jalen Hurts' extension. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on right now. So as much as we're focused on the draft, free agency is really going to designate where this team goes and, what spots are wide open right now, because your offense is pretty much fine. All you have to worry about is Cam Jurgens moving into that right guard spot, and obviously Miles Sanders is walking, so they're going to need a three-down back, or, a lot of running backs are up for trade and going to this draft as well, which, running backs go deep into the fourth round, the fourth round grade and up, which is great. So let me know what you guys think about the Slay situation right now. And let me know about what you guys think about Brandon Graham returning, the loyalty that he has, and really opting out for so much money. If he tested the market, guys, he could have got paid. Jim Schwartz with the Browns had a lot of interest, and we know that Jim Schwartz was a big Brandon Graham fan, and could have got paid a nice penny over there. Could have got so much more money than he was getting. And you do not see this with players. It is very, very rare. We could not see Brandon Graham in another jersey. It was almost impossible. So let me know what you guys think about both these situations in the comment section below. And if you lasted this long, please subscribe to the channel. Cover the Eagles every single day. Make sure you like this video as well. More Eagles news on the way, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.